What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Your Ex Drinking Buddy with me, your host, Brennan Tassif. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Full video available there. Check out the merch store. Look at all this stuff. We got all this stuff on the merch store. It's all available on the website, BrennanTComedy.com. You can also get my tour dates there. Every show that I have coming up, I'm going to be in New York, traveling the country, doing a bunch of gigs. So check it out. Get tickets at BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the merch store. And lastly, if you really want to support, go to www.patreon.com/BrennanTComedy. And that is where you can find Tales from the Restaurant, where I divulge everything about the celebrities I wait on. And also a little bit of behind the scenes. You'll also get the episodes early, a bunch of bonus episodes. Check it all out. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Your Ex Drinking Buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do. Hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do. Hang out with somebody and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by guys. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City via Tampa, Florida, Jake Lemonade.
What's up? Hell yeah.
Ybor City in the building.
What's up? What's up, Tampa? 852.
What's up, dude?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So we met actually at a show, and it was very funny because I was getting the special stuff ready, which is a lot about growing up in Florida and getting arrested.
Oh, yeah.
And you went up right before me, and then you had all this stuff about Florida and getting arrested. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're from Florida, we all have arrested drinking stories. So it's like,
and if you're a comic, you're going to make jokes about it.
I was doing a show last Thursday, and I wasn't even supposed to be on the show. I just dropped in like late night. I was hanging out at like Freddy's in a midnight show, and the guy that went on before me just started talking. I wasn't going to do any of my Florida material. His whole 10 minutes was like, fuck Florida. Everyone there's a honky. And I was like, now I got to lock in and cook this motherfucker.
Yeah,
dude.
what are we doing?
I'm like, you're talking to the son of Jimmy Buffett right now. How dare you? How fucking dare you?
I get so frustrated because obviously my wife is from the Northeast, and everyone's always like, ugh, Florida. Dude. And I'm like, okay, that's really funny that you guys say that because where I went to college in Boca Raton, it is just New York, New Jersey light.
Literally,
so I don't know what all this shit you guys are talking about.
Boca's just, we have Little Italy up there. They have Little Israel down there. So it's like a whole back and forth. Dude, it's so funny. Because I'm originally from the Keys. So like I have Key Largo blood, and then we did Fort Lauderdale, and then Tampa was just like where
Florida.
We let it all.
Fucking pirate.
Exactly, baby.
Before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. Let everybody know where they can find you, podcast shows, anything like that.
You can find me on all my socials at Jake_Lemonade97. That's Instagram, TikTok, wherever the fuck. Probably OnlyFans. Who fucking knows these days? Whatever. If you got $20, I'll find a way to take it from you. But that's all the socials. I produce a podcast that hasn't come out in like a year, but with me and my boy Jamie McClelland. It's called The Honky Hour. So follow us there. We will try to get some new clips up soon. And then for comedians and audience members and just international people avoiding warrants of their arrest of any kind, I produce a festival in Cyprus every year.
Okay.
It's the international. This is our 4th annual comedy festival. We have submissions going on through
Cyprus, like Cyprus?
Yeah, the island of Cyprus. Yeah. So
how did you get into that?
So last, actually a year ago yesterday, I was laid off from my corporate job.
Okay.
And, but I had a wedding in Italy at the beginning of September, and this festival was at the end of September. And I had met the executive producer at Luxor Lounge in the West Village. Okay. And he was like, dude, you got to come to the festival. And I was like, I can't afford like fly to Italy, fly back to America, fly to Cyprus, fly back. But then when I got laid off, I was like, oh, I don't have to take PTO, and I can just like try and worm my way around staying in Europe. Yeah. So I ended up just like DMing.
So wait, real quick, laid off corporate job. Did you get like a severance? Were you like?
I got a little bit of money, and then also I just like took my savings account and was like, well, if ever there's a smarter thing a comedian can do is go full time into comedy when you're not booked anywhere in New York City,
dude.
So I just said fuck it, and I started DMing like international clubs, and I just like planned hostel travel like all around Europe to stay, because we had this wedding in like basically Lake Como at the beginning of September, and then the festival was the end of September. So I was like,
so you had a month of like,
I was like, it's cheaper to stay in Europe and like bop where I have some friends over there and stuff. So I was like, it's cheaper to stay in Europe for that month than it is to like fly to Europe.
Yeah, 100%.
Whatever. Because it's like $20 flights like once you get into Europe. So I just like podunked my way around Europe and told jokes. And those shows, unlike a lot of New York City, pay. So I was like $10 a night hostel or staying on a friend's couch, make $40-$50 a day doing comedy.
Dude, that's
and just hung out.
Why did you come back? That sounds like an awesome way to live.
Apparently, girlfriends and family still have. You
I
have to
always
tie yourself to people that you love or whatever.
So wait, so now.
But yeah, so I performed in that festival last year, and then there was me and one other like American comedian that went over.
Did you crush?
What,
did you crush?
I mean, some.
I didn't know if it was one of those things where it's like these fucking New York City American comics.
There's some scenes that like you bring in New York City comedy and they're like, oh fuck, this is like you're on fire. But then also like European audiences are polite. Yeah. So like the first show I did with my buddy Alan in Amsterdam, and I was like, oh, I bombed that show, right? And then everyone came up to me after the show and they were like, that was lovely. You're a very funny man. And I was like, where were the laughs? And they were like, we did one of these. And I'm like, golf claps don't translate to like, I need you to like yell at me on stage.
My wife brings so many people to shows, but they're all very like polite. So it's a lot of smiling and nodding. Oh, and I'm like, you're killing my clips.
That's everywhere I went in Europe. I was like, should I quit comedy? And they were like, oh, we love the stories about America. And I was like, then fucking laugh out loud. Yeah. Don't laugh inside your head. Yeah.
Oh no, we were laughing on the inside.
It was very funny. I don't understand. This Florida is like in Australia. I don't understand this. And I'm like, then fucking engage with it. But it was so fun, and Cyprus was great. So then I just was talking with Yorgos, is our executive producer. He lives over there and like curated the whole thing. And so he just asked me to come on and produce this year. So we've been helping.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Trying to get more American comics. He like started the comedy scene over in Cyprus. So.
Yeah.
It's been cool to come on board with. It's not when I was like doing open mics in fucking Oxford, Ohio. I wasn't like, I'll probably be in Europe doing this shit, but it's so fun.
It is weird how many doors it can open just because of the sense of like everywhere has a scene now.
It's
and
crazy.
The internet has made it to where you can find a scene anywhere.
Totally.
So it is bizarre because like if I go on. Like my mom lives in Ohio, and it was so funny because she used to own like a little pizza place, and she was like, oh, when you come to visit, we should do a comedy thing, like a comedy night.
I mean, don't tell comedy like revolutionized.
Well,
like, hey, just use a back room.
And I've got friends that produce for Don't Tell Now and stuff, and Kyle's an awesome dude, and it was one of those things where I was like, okay, well, I guess I can try to see if I can find some comics because she lives in Dayton, which is right near where Dave Chappelle lives. But I was also like, Dayton's a small town. Like, I don't know if there's like, and I went on like Dayton comedy. Whole page of
it's a whole thing, dude.
Like 50 comics that live in the area, and I was like, "This is crazy."
I started in Cincy, like the Go Bananas area, like that whole territory, because I was working in Miami of Ohio, and that's like how I got started. It's not one of my stories, but like I started stand-up comedy because I was blacked out drunk at a comedy show.
Well, let's talk about it. Because that is one of the generic questions I ask: is how'd you even get into stand-up?
We'll double dip, but yeah, my buddy Charlie, it was his birthday, and there's a club outside of Cincy in Blue Ash called Go Bananas.
Yeah, of course.
And it's a comedy club out there, and I've always been a fan of comedy, but I was like, whatever. And I was living in Philly in 2020, and I almost started stand-up there, but it was February of 2020, and I wrote an open mic set, and then I was working at UPenn, and we went away for spring break. I was like, we'll come back from spring break, and I'll start stand-up.
No, you won't.
The pandemic.
No, you won't.
So I was like, I probably shouldn't. If I have to start on Zoom, I probably shouldn't start stand-up comedy. So then I just like buried that thought for a few years. I was living in Oxford. We went to see the show at Go Bananas. Him and I are trashed. Like, we're so drunk at the show, and I'm like, whatever. And we start heckling the comics on stage, being just assholes.
Oh, dude, I've been there.
Yeah. And so I'm like, we were just riffing and doing the whole thing. And I mean, they're pissed, but I don't know. I don't fucking know. And so then this guy, Carter Doherty, shout out. He comes up to me after the show, and he's like, fuck you, man. He shoves me against the wall. He's like, we're fucking working on material here. Like, don't do that shit. Like, that's such a trash thing to do. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And then he goes, and then he like takes this deep breath, and he like takes his hands off my shirt, and he's like, but some of your heckles like were kind of funnier than some of the things people were saying. He's like, just do stand-up comedy. And I was like, I didn't know. I thought you had to like sign paperwork or something.
Dude, I say this all the time, especially living in New York. You see so many people like that are, maybe a little mentally ill, but who isn't?
A little. It's bold, yeah.
But it is one of those things where they'll start screaming or something, and I'm like, just go to an open. If you need attention this badly, just go to an open mic.
Better help is more expensive than a one-item minimum. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's brutal.
And I'll turn to my wife constantly and be like, they need attention so bad. It's
exactly.
like
It's a
I
perfect
will
storm.
introduce you to fucking open mics.
I'm
man.
like, honestly, some of the guys that I could pull off the street like would have producers before.
Yeah,
I'm like, you'll have an
100%.
agent in a year if you just
You'd have a manager.
If you just funnel this, yeah.
Dude, so
yeah.
I wanted to. How
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you end up? Because I learned from your set, and also we've talked about you grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
How did you end up in like Philly and then Ohio? And
Yeah, so you might not be able to prove it on paper, but I did graduate college, and I
Where'd you go to college?
went to USF in Tampa. Go
Okay.
Bulls, baby! My illustrious other alumni, Channing Tatum and Hulk Hogan. So
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we got and I'm the
Well,
third
don't-
best thing to ever
Don't
come
forget
out
about
of
JPP, man.
Oh, the little JPP, come on, man!
Played in the
One-hand wonder.
NFL, the one-handed wonder. Fucking-
Firecracker of a guy, but yeah, dude.
Dude, that was the most Florida thing when he blew his hand off from a
Dude, I
firework.
mean, honestly, they should have just funded it.
I was like, of course you went to USF.
Come on,
you
dude. I mean,
fucking-
the next thing we had after that was Jameis Winston just running,
Oh, yeah?
running the wrong direction for the Buccaneers. But that's how it goes.
Oh, God, I
Whatever.
forgot about that.
Ah,
So then
but, yeah.
you
So
grow
I
up.
graduated college. I was a big frat guy. I was in a frat down
You
in
don't
school.
say.
Yeah, shocker. Yeah, should I have these on the back of my head for the whole? Yeah.
Dude, I will say this.
Yeah.
I know it's a real like fratty thing to do, and I was never in a frat, but it is a very convenient way to hold your sunglasses if you don't want to stretch out your shirt.
I'll tell you what, man. My dad thought he invented that. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, I'm just from the Keys, so like boat shoes and khakis and like sunglasses with like the fucking
Yeah.
croquis and shit. That's just like how I dressed. And then I got to college, and I went to like I was working in like Iowa, and I'm like, why are you guys are appropriating my culture? Like, what the fuck is this? I was like, wait a minute.
There's not a beach for
I'm like,
1,000 miles.
You should be in fucking cargo shorts. You got shit to carry around.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
100%.
I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But yes, I mean, frat was just like it was like the inevitability for
Yeah.
me, you know. But I was in a frat, and then I was like president of like the Greek community at
Jesus
USF.
Christ.
That's a whole other story for another time. But I was like running Greek life at USF my senior year, and so my headquarters organization like poached me to work for them.
Okay.
So, and when you're 21 years old, they're like, this is the sales. They're like, hey, do you want to make no money, but do you want to basically stay in college for 3 years and
Yes.
we fly you all over the United States?
Actually,
and then you
that
get to
sounds
just
amazing.
keep partying and meet fucking thousands of others of your fraternity brothers. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck?
That's what I was going to ask. So
yeah.
you just, like, what were you doing? Were you going, like, consulting with the other
Yeah.
frats or something?
So my title was like coordinator of expansion or coordinator of growth or whatever. And so the initial thing they sent me to do, like the reason I was in Philly is basically so like I graduated like December of 2019. January 2nd, I moved to Indianapolis, which is where that's like where most of the fraternity and sorority headquarters are. Tax Shield, what's up? I know they're gonna do that, but
we know what you're doing.
I might come up later. But yeah, so Tax Shield there. So I move in there. I'm there for like 7 days for training, and then they ship me to Philadelphia to work at UPenn because Warren Buffett was a fraternity brother of ours, and that was
Okay.
his chapter. But that chapter was like closing. That was a whole thing. And then
So
they
did
sent
you
me
go there to, like, revive
They
it?
sent me there to like recruit a new crop of guys and
Okay.
like restart the chapter. And so insane.
You're like fucking, you're like every coach in every, like, 80s movie. Like, I'm coming
Yeah.
in, I'm bringing in my guys.
I'm like Denzel Washington.
I was
I'm
gonna
like,
bring it up, yeah.
Coming in, I'm like, look, guys, if you just buckle your head, you know. But I'm giving
we
them the
will be
halftime speech.
perfect in every aspect of the fraternity.
Look, man, it's just about a strong defense and please stop raping. That's if all I can ask you to do.
Stop
is please,
doing this
enough
shit.
of that. But anyway, so I'm in Philly. I'm living there. I'm like I had recruited like a lot of the basketball players, the baseball guy.
Yeah,
I had like
gotta get
70
athletes,
guys like on
yeah.
the waiver wire to come into the chapter, and then COVID hit. So like the whole thing got canceled. Everyone doesn't come home from school, whatever. And so then they rerouted me, and then I just basically everyone was supposed to like just hunker down.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my hunkering down would be going to Florida. So
Yeah.
you guys can send me wherever you want. And so then they made me the most on the road man in the country for like 2.5 years.
Oh, really?
And I lived like I would do 2 weeks at every because it was like as colleges were like opening back up, no one knew like what their policies were allowed to be. I caught COVID like 6 times on the
Yeah,
road.
of
I was the
course.
only guest in a Best Western in Grand Forks, North Dakota, just like
Dude, that's got to be nuts.
I was dying, dude. I was drinking pickle juice and hot sauce. Is the only thing
Just
I could taste.
trying to get-
And I'm just like sweat. I'm like, I'm in a hot tub, and I'm the only person in the whole building.
That's nuts.
Insane. That
To have a
was
hotel
case
to
number
yourself?
one. Dude, it was crazy. It felt like The Shining.
Yeah, of
It was
course.
insane. And I was hallucinating enough to be like, there's probably, yeah. But anyway, so I traveled like all over the country. So I was already living the life of a stand-up comic.
But I find this
Yeah.
fascinating. So, because obviously the heads of the frats in Indianapolis, they have to have some sort of like response. They can't be like, hey, I know you're 21, but you're going to go to these colleges and just get hammered. So like, what
Sure.
was their,
Well,
like, just, I'm saying from just corporate,
totally.
like
From
what was their like pitch?
All right. Insider scoop. The reason I was so successful at doing what I did for the 3.5 years I was with the fraternity was because I didn't follow any of the policies.
Okay,
like, you're not supposed to drink with the guys. You're not supposed to do those things, whatever.
So they were like, hey, these are the rules. And you're like, I'm going to Van Wild their
Yeah,
fuck
I was
out of this.
like, dude, I am literally just like the Russian nesting doll of Bert Kreischer. What do you want me to do? So but the whole thing is like, you're not supposed to do that shit, but like, no one's going to join your frat if you're a dude in khakis and a tucked in polo. Like, oh, we're a leadership organization. They're like,
so wait, are you coming in and then like, are you coming into where the frat doesn't exist, or are you like
it depends.
revamped?
So
because like I'm sure like the president of that chapter is like, who the fuck is this guy?
So that's the whole thing, right? Is like the headquarters like representation like to the chapters is like, who's this fucking narc coming in, right? And I was like, hey man, just don't like make me do more paperwork than I need to do, and I won't step on your toes. Let's recruit some guys. Like usually it was they had like a financial problem or a recruiting problem, so I was coming in to help them, but they see it as like, who's this outside
100%,
guy? And I'm working with Alabama. I'm working with, NC State, like big SEC schools and like big chapters and shit. And they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, I don't give a shit, bro. Like, I literally.
I'm from the Keys.
I'm
Go
like,
fuck
I'm
yourself.
from Florida. And because they all come in and try to big dog you. And I'm like, I hate the like dick measuring contest, but I'm like, I just brass tacks. I'm like, I'm from Florida. You haven't done a thing that I can't. Yeah. I haven't seen before. And
I grew up around dinosaurs.
I'm like, dude, I would wrestle alligators. That's like our bar mitzvahs down there. It's like, can you fucking subdue an alligator?
Can you take an alligator down?
Exactly. So
run zigzag. Everybody knows the rules.
Stop, drop, and roll. Don't talk to strangers. Run in a zigzag so you avoid that.
Everyone
That's
knows
kindergarten.
the rules.
That's the first, and then like try to share, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
But they're like, whatever. But yeah, so it's like that whole thing is just like, I'm traveling around the country doing that, and then they moved me to like our most like problematic chapter on paper, which is Miami of Ohio. Huge chapter, love the guys. Shout out, not Zeta Omicron, that's my guys. I don't remember their name. Epsilon,
shout out those guys.
Shout out Epsilons. I don't fucking know what they are, but yeah, Alpha Sig down there was super sick. But they sent me there because those were like the black sheep boys of like the U.S. for that chapter, that fraternity, and they were like, nobody can fucking get a handle on these guys. They're in standards meetings all the time, and I was like. Send in the big guns.
Captain.
I'm to this day the only person in the United States that's 8-0 against conduct offices. I had the dean of students at that university quit her job because she couldn't close that chapter for 3 years of me working with them.
God.
Yeah. So that was the whole thing. Is I just went there and I was like, do whatever the fuck you guys want to do, but like let's hit these metrics, get out of debt, recruit some guys. And they were like, oh fucking.
Let's just get on the straight and narrow. Like we're gonna be like, you guys can still do the partying. We just
I'm like, I want you to do the partying. I don't want to be brothers with nerds. Yeah. But I'm like, just hang out. But like, maybe don't light a firecracker like bottle rockets off at the guy who owns your house when he comes by to shut down your party.
Is that what they were doing?
I'm like, maybe don't jump off the roof on video. But it's like we had done all that shit.
Jump off the roof, all you want. Yeah. Just stop filming it, you idiot.
Put a pool down there. Don't just jump onto the concrete slab. It's like take the thought one step further and you'll be fine.
You forget how stupid, and I mean I was the same way. I'm sure you were too. Dude. How stupid we were in college, where you're like. I remember one of the first times I got arrested.
I love that every Florida guy is like one of the first times I got arrested.
But this was after I was playing college football, but I thought I still had that like badassery about me.
Oh yeah.
And I remember fucking headbutting the back of the patrol car.
Yeah, dude.
And like when they put me in the holding cell, I was like, because a lot of the holding cells, especially in South Florida, they're not bars, they're glass. Yeah. They're like plexiglass.
You're like, I'm getting out.
And I remember like slamming my head against it, being like, you don't fucking know me. I'm a crazy person. And now looking back on it, I was like, you wanted so badly to be, but now at like 38, if I got arrested again for some reason, I saw a kid doing that, I'd be like you at the frat. I'd be like, hey man, nobody's questioning you're a badass. This isn't
better for you.
Just sit down though.
It's not like prison where you're like, I gotta assert my dom. Nobody's gonna come and fuck you in the ass. You're like, I'll be out of here in the morning.
Sit down.
Exactly.
You're gonna get ROR'd.
Have your little white bread fucking sandwich and chill till it's sober up. Have a cup of coffee.
So I wanted to ask, so you're in Ohio, and then is that where you start doing open mics?
Yeah, so I saw that show in Cincy, and then Carter. So there's like Miami of Ohio had like a comedy club like group or whatever. And there's a bar there called 1868, and I was bartending at Skippers and Top Deck and doing that shit, and I was running around doing all the. So
wait, are you still working even though you're working for the frat? Are you still having?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
odd
transparently,
jobs?
like the job with the frat. Once they moved me to Miami of Ohio, I like was supposed to be there for 2 weeks. This is like a longer thing than it needs to be, but like I was supposed to go in. I had traveled the whole country and I'd done all these Midwest schools with the promise of going to California at the end of that semester. And so I'm like sick. I was on vacation in Miami, just partying with some friends because I'd been on the road for 6 months. And then I was going to come back from that vacation, go to Cali for a week, and then be off the road for the rest of that year. And then I'm literally funneling a pina colada through a snorkel on a boat and in Miami, Florida. And the vice president of our organization calls me. And he's like, hey, man, we need you to actually, instead of going to California, we need to go to Miami. And I was like, oh, I'm already in Miami. And he was like, no, the one in Ohio.
The other one.
And I go, when did they get one in Ohio? And he was like, and it turned into this whole thing. So I'm like, fuck me. And he goes, and actually we can't have you go for just like the 1 week visit. Like they're a trouble chapter. We need you to go for the rest of the semester. And I was like, fuck that. But I was like, I had a trip planned to Cancun with a bunch of the other guys that worked for our fraternity that had been out all over the road this whole time. And so I was like, I'll go, but I'm going to go for 1 week, like settle in. And then I'm going to go on this trip. And then I'll come back for the rest of the semester, or I quit and you don't get anybody to go.
Yeah.
And he was like, shit. So
I guess
I'm
you
like, all right, good dice.
Go.
So I drop in and I'm pissed because I'm like, I was promised like Sacramento and California, LA, and I was supposed to do the whole like Redwood Forest, and I was going to take 2 weeks off after that and just travel.
That would have been sick.
And I'm like, I'm driving through cornfields, like, so mad.
I hate everyone.
I'm like, fucking bullshit. And so, but I'm there, and as soon as, this is what I mean by like breaking all the rules, like I walk in and I had called the president of the chapter, and I'm like, where are you guys? And he sends me the passcode to the house, and I pull into the back door. I have every possession that I own in my backseat of my car. And then he just texts me. He goes, we're at Nut Hut. And I go, what's a Nut Hut? And then I walk into the back room, and I'm like, hello? Is anybody? It's like noon on a Saturday. The house is so gross that like I step on the floor and my foot comes out of my Sperry.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I mean, it's disgusting. And then I open the like hallway to their dorms and shit, and I'm like, is anybody here? And just one kid pops his head out, and he's like in his underwear, and he's got like a fucking condom hanging off his ear and shit, and he's like, are you a Fiji? Which is another frat that they had beef with. And I was like, no, I'm your new advisor. And he goes, oh shit, hang on a second. And then the door slams open, and like 100 of the guys are like, Nut Hut, Nut Hut, Nut Hut. And I'm like, what is happening?
God.
And they like carry me over to a house party that's like down the block, and I'm like, but I know the policy is like, don't drink with the student, like,
but,
you set the expectation. And I'm like walking around meeting everybody. They're all skeptical because they had literally scared the last advisor out of the house. Like they would make monkey noises in the middle of the night and like throw smoke bombs in his room and shit. And so I'm like, the expectations are high, so they're all like watching me. And then one of the guys walks up to me, this little kid, Connor. He's like 5'3", bucket hat, like long. He looks like a fucking cartoon. And he's like, hey man, can you hold this for me for a second? And he hands me a 40-ounce ice. And I see every eye in the building go, and I'm doing like the math in my head. And I'm like, all right, I either go like, oh, as a fraternity headquarters advisor, we're not allowed to drink this with you guys.
Yeah.
And then I and then I don't get anything that I need to get done with them at all.
Or you pound it.
Or I go, okay, pussies, and I crack it, and I take the knee, and I chug it, and I like throw it out the window, and it slams and shatters all over the fucking yard. And everyone's like, oh! And they're like, lemonade, because of my last name. And they're like, oh, lemonade. And then it was like the most successful chapter we've ever had in the fraternity to this day. I just like was like, you guys are either in or you're out. I'm like, I can be this guy for you, or I can be the fucking narc. And
I could be the guy you don't want me to be.
Which way, Western man? You know. And so,
and that's interesting because that is something I discovered being incarcerated a lot. It was the same thing with the COs. But you're 100% where it's like, hey, you guys can like watch TV in the TV room. You guys can like watch the football games. But the second you guys start betting on it and then getting into fistfights because of it, now we got a problem. Now we're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Every job on the planet exists with the understanding of like, if you make me do more work, now I have to be a bad guy. So my whole thing with those guys is like, I was making money like 2 and 3 times over because I would bartend on this. I like by the time we smoothed things out, I had to show up for them for like 4 hours a week to like sit in
because it was all.
And I'm like, I'm like, once you guys I'm like, I will be the guy. Like, I'll plan my vacations around when you want to throw your big parties, so I can have plausible deniability when the house owner like calls me and I'm like, oh, I'm in Orlando. I had no idea they were throwing that party. Meanwhile, I like funded the budget for the party. I'm like, do this.
I'm gonna be out of town.
Bouncy castle. You gotta call this guy. I know a guy for the discount on the kegs. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. That's crazy.
That was wild. So, I just gave him some information. I didn't know what they were gonna do with it.
Like, oh, I'm at Universal Studios. I had no idea they were gonna do that.
So wait, so at the time, once you got the chapter up and running, you were just kind of like doing side jobs, and then are you like just living in Miami of Ohio? Yeah,
so I had like an advisor suite off the back of the house that was like my own space.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm saying is like, had I not just gotten older, like to be 23 and have like free, no rent, no bills, free food. You're getting paid to be on contract. I was getting paid to do some like comedy gigs at the time, and I'm bartending, and I was just doing all sorts of random shit. And I had a family business back in Florida, so you're getting like, you know, June through August off. You're getting December and January off because you're working on the school year. So it's like I'm working 7 months a year, and I'm just like running the gambit.
So then, what was the thing where you were like, okay, now I need to like, I'm coming to New York. I want to keep pursuing comedy. Like, what was the thing?
So I had been doing comedy, I think like 8 or 9 months. I have some very good friends from middle school that live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
That I like forced into doing comedy, like improv and shit when we were younger, and then I got out of comedy, and we've like had this tug of war doing comedy all the time. But whenever I would go back to Florida, because Spirit Airlines still existed,
shout out.
but like it was like $20 to like fly into New York for, you know, a few days, and then I'd come back down to Florida, and it was way cheaper to fly direct from LaGuardia than it was Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So I would just spend like a few days doing shows around Brooklyn, hanging out with them, and I liked it. But then my contract ended in May of 2023. And I was like, I got to make, I'm like, I could have re-upped the contract because like I was doing really well at the job, but I was 25 and I was like, I don't,
that's also
I'm like, I don't,
ask.
I think it like,
are you aging out?
There's like
job?
a level with which if I had been promoted in that world, like I would be in that career field still, but it's like, then I'm not doing that job. Now I'm like the paperwork guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm like the guy that sits in Indianapolis and like calls you for bills. And I'm like, I didn't want that. But I also feel like after 25, like you can't.
Could you imagine
still do
being
that.
like 28
like if I'm
showing up?
Now if I'm walking into your house, your frat house, like, it's like that's creepy. Like, yeah, 21 to 25 is like sick, and it was during COVID. So like everyone I know that went through COVID had this like I sat in my house and fucking jerked off until it burned, and then I was like I went to 40 states and like met thousands of people and did all this cool shit. And like got to really enjoy that time. But I think 26 you can't. Like I would have turned 25 that July, and I was like, now seems like the perfect time to cut out.
It's interesting you bring that up too, because that was definitely something when I was in my 20s and I was like getting hospitalized for drinking too much or getting arrested. Yeah. But it's one of those things where you're like, live fast, die young.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all this kind of like, you know, it's so cool. Like there's a line in a movie that I really like, but it really pertains to it, where it's like, doomed youth is very romantic. You're like, I'm an artist, I'm a comic. What do you want from me? I'm just doing it. And for you, it's like, this is what I do. I'm a frat boy, and this is what.
Yeah.
But then once you get past a certain age, you're kind of like for me, it was 30, and I woke up in a hospital, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, that was what was always so weird for me, because like because I was also still the advisor. Like I was partying and doing all this. I lived a life that's like non-traditional to like adults. But then to those students, like there was a multiple times like I physically, personally carried somebody to the hospital and like saved their life.
Yeah.
Because they like trusted me as an advisor to be like, hey, normally we wouldn't call like an adult about this because we'd be afraid of going to jail, but like you're the man, so like can you come check and see if this guy needs to go to the hospital? And I brought a kid to the hospital and he blew like a .5.
That's
or so, like
nuts.
which should kill anybody.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then I'm the person on the phone with their parents and like doing that thing. So I've always like walked the line between. My thing is like you can party like me without dying. So this is how to do it. Versus like don't just like one or the other. Like don't jump to kill yourself. Don't chug a handle of Kraken and then expect that to be fine. Like you can go all night. But
Kraken call.
I mean, hey, dude. From the depths of the sea, baby.
Oh my God. So then you get to New York, and then what is that like? Because you said you had a corporate job for a little bit while you're here. So what is it? What did you like when you get here? Do you move here with the job? Do you move here looking for a job? Like, are you just doing comedy?
Yeah, one of the bullet points I sent you is that Curry. So the contract ends in May of 2023, and then my buddies and I we all like to travel. Like you can tell from the year. Like I like hostel stays. I like doing the fucking backpack stuff and just like going and dipping off into the world for a little bit. So I'm turning 25 that summer, and I want to make some decisions with my life. I'm making a decision. Do I go back to Florida and work for my parents and our snow cone business? Do I like
big money in snow cones in Florida?
I'll tell you what, year-round business down there, baby. Slinging ice either way if you're in South Florida.
Hey-oo.
What's up? But so I'm making a bunch of decisions. I want to just like take some time and like reflect on life. I'm hitting my quarter century crisis, whatever. So my buddies and I planned this trip called Yacht Week. It's like a big group that does like catamaran tours in like Greece and Croatia and the Cayman Islands and shit. We picked the Croatian trip. So they're going to meet me out there for the 2 weeks of the trip, but I just take like May till July, and I go like, I'm going to go move to Europe and like recalibrate my
Your
life.
contract's over. And
Yeah,
you're like,
I have
hey,
a little bit of
folks,
money saved up.
I'm not gonna
yeah,
go.
I'm gonna figure it out. So I go, fuck it, I'll go move into a hostel and like stay over there and live there, work there, whatever.
I wanted to ask you about this because I've had like Michael Rowland talked about living in a hostel when he was in California when he was on the show. Is there like he had to like clean the rooms at night in order to stay there. So for you, when you go to a hostel, is there a time limit? Is there like you have to work a job?
On what you do. So like I stayed at this place called the Booze and Snooze in Split, Croatia. Hot shit. This guy Big Mike was this big like New Zealand like Kiwi tattooed from like the earlobes down. Big gauges, white guy with dreads, and he's like, "Oh, mate, we're fucking going out, ain't we?" And doing that shit. And so, like, day one, I get there, and you're all figuring out like your role, and they have this happy hour that happens at like 6 p.m. on this big patio every night, and we're playing drinking games and doing shit or whatever, and him and I become like instant friends. Okay. I'm like, this is the bro. And so we basically do this happy hours for a few hours, and then we take the collective of the people staying at the hostels or whatever that come around and see it, and we just bar crawl, and then that gets you access to like nightclubs and stuff in Split.
Okay.
And so there's a bar there that's like owned by the hostel. And him and I would sit behind this like mayor's podium and just drink Jaeger every night. And so our job was like the bar crawl captains of the hostel.
Yeah.
So there's different shit. You can be like the guy who does laundry, the guy that does check-in, and everyone kind of rotates.
You're the guy drinking.
I'm the guy that's like.
How do you always land into jobs where you're like, I'm actually just the party guy? That's my thing.
Something about me. I don't know. But
it's kind of just my role.
But it was that was such a like institutional point in my life because I dropped all my stuff back in Florida and like left my stuff for the contract. I flew to New York and I did a week's worth of shows here and I toured apartments and I toured a place in Bushwick and it was like the apartment was like a clown, a ballerina, like a weed dealer, and like a guy who fixed bikes with hemp rope for a living. And then it was like $800 a month in like deep Bushwick, and I was like, oh fuck. So I gave the guy $1,000, and I was like, you can either have $1,000 or this is my security deposit, but I am moving to Europe until at least July 1st.
Yeah.
Is that cool? And he was like, deal. So I was like, fucking sick. So then I bombed a bunch of shows around New York.
Of course.
And I was like, I'm the best fucking guy to ever come out of fucking Ohio, baby. What's up? I'm like, I'm the king of comedy. And then I'm just like pissing off women all over Brooklyn. And then I moved to Europe and I like, basically like my friends get there. We're doing the whole thing. I can tell that story in a sec. But I'm living that life. And then my boys get there. We're partying on the yacht for a few weeks. We are like living with these like Norwegian girls, and we're all partying. And it's like 20 yachts, and we're all just sailing around the islands and like partying. They're tying their yachts up in like rafts, and they're bringing DJ boats out, and it's just like beach parties every night. It's so fun. But I woke up literally on the deck of a boat one of the mornings. Like I peel like a woman off of me, and I like look up, and I'm looking out into the Aegean Sea, and I'm like, this is gorgeous. I gotta move to Brooklyn. I'm not pursuing my I'm like living like the island life dream, and I'm like, I need to go tell dick jokes in a basement.
This is like something out of Wolf of Wall Street, and you were like, nah, it's not for me.
I can always come back to this. I can never come back to being an open micer in fucking New York City.
Dude. So then you just were like, I can't.
So I was like, that trip ended, and I called the guy, and I was like, cash the check. And then I flew back to Florida. I had like 2 weeks of a layover there. I like started Zoom calling, applying for a ton of jobs because I was like, I can't like make money doing stand-up comedy in New York immediately. That's why I picked up
5 years in for that matter.
You're telling me, brother. But so yeah, I picked up a corporate job and then did day jobs for the first few years and then laid off last year, baby.
Okay, so this is fascinating to me because this is something, this is something that we run into a lot. So we know plenty of people where it's the most recent example I have of this is my buddy Julian, who's been on the podcast a bunch. Julian Barani, he's a hilarious comedian from Australia. Funny. But the same kind of thing where he got like laid off and then he was like, you know what? I could look for another job or I could use what I have saved to just go full time into comedy and producing. Sure. And then all of a sudden he's like opening for people and like traveling and like featuring. And I was like, dude, how did that happen? And he goes, well, I had all this time and I do have these sets of skills. I can edit clips. I can record. I can do all these things. He's like, so because I didn't have a schedule anymore where I was like, well, I have to be back by Monday at 9. He was like, I just went out and told people like, hey, I'll go with you. I'll film your sets in 4K and then I'll cut clips for you if you let me feature and pay me to feature. And I was like, there's a saying we have in sports, which is you can't fake desperate. No. So like people are always like, oh, we would have won game 3. We would have won the series. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know that because you can't fake desperate. And it's the same thing in comedy. I tell my wife all the time, I'm always like,
I'm desperate, honey.
If I did get laid off and I did become desperate, who knows what that could do with because I'm very comfortable now with the restaurant, just a few days a week, I can make plenty of money.
Yeah, totally.
But then it is also like, if Eric from Greenwich Village calls me on a Saturday, it's like, I'm at work, dude. I can't.
Yeah.
So it is that weird kind of thing. So for you, getting laid off, and then are you like, that's it, I'm just doing comedy now?
I mean, so that was
for as long as I can.
I mean, well, so that was the thing, right? Like, the reason I took the day job when I got here was because I was like, oh, that'll be really helpful, so I can close my laptop at 5:01 and do open mics. Because I figured, part of this, so much of this is getting to know people at all.
Yeah, 100%.
And I figured if I'm working a bartending job or whatever, same thing. It's like I won't have that opportunity. Now I've been in the city for 3 years, so it's like I have a group of people that I can hit up for show spots and things like that if I need to work out new material. I host an open mic at Greenpoint, so it's like I have my like institutions, and I've kind of built my community now.
Yeah,
that I don't think I would have been able to do had I moved here with a service industry.
100%. Yeah.
So the layoff happened. I do the Euro tour last year. I come back and I started bartending at the Comedy Shop.
Okay.
So I was there from October until the incident in February.
Yeah.
And I was on the road when all that happened, and I came back and was like, hey, I guess I got to get in it.
What happened?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. So I still bartend at the Bell House now in Gowanus, and but I try to keep those things. And I bartended and bar backed and like helped set up the serving program at Greenpoint Comedy Club. And so I try to keep even the work that I'm doing in the comedy space.
Yeah.
So I do pick up bartending shifts and like gigs, and I do background acting work. I just did like a Hulu shoot yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Stuff like, I mean, not my special. You're going to see my toe behind fucking, like James.
I'm on Backstage so much, like just applying for these random roles.
Oh, dude, I'm on Casting Network every day. Before this, I was on a call with a lady. I think I might have gotten swindled into some like Love Island type show.
Well, it's
but I'm like, fuck it, I'll take my shirt off.
It's so funny because like with the Backstage thing, I don't know like what's like some weird guy in a basement and what's like a legitimate. I was talking to a friend of mine at work who's also an actor. He is an actual actor, and I was like, yeah, I got offered a part. And he was like, what do you mean you got? Because I'm a comic. Everyone knows I'm a comic. I'm a comic through and through. I don't have any fucking. The only videos I have on my Backstage profile is me doing comedy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and so it's like, but these people reached out and they're like, oh, we think you'd be a great fit. Like you fit the exactly who we're thinking of for this character.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to a buddy of mine at work who's an actual actor. And I go, yeah, but this seems shady because I have no business getting offered this part.
Role,
why would they not? Like they're just gonna make me audition, but they're like, oh, it's yours if you want it, as long as you nail the audition.
But all of the filming is in my basement.
Well, and then my buddy was like, because he's like such like in that mindset, he's like, no, you take any gig you can get, like just.
Of course,
and, dude, I never emailed him back. I was like, this seems creepy.
You're like, send me a 360 video of your shooting
I was
space.
like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done plenty of shows as a comic where
I was
it's
gonna
like,
say, don't get me wrong, like I've been to plenty of basements for comedy shows.
100%.
I'm like, I wish I had gotten the fucking online email about this.
But it's so weird when you walk in and it's like just a camera and you're like, so is anybody else coming?
It's just a camera and the guy's got a towel over his lap and he's like, and then can you spin around for me one more time?
Yeah.
And you're like,
let me see the backside again.
Yeah, exactly. Take your shoes off. And you're like, whoa.
So I wanted to get into some of these stories. What happened in Croatia with the story?
Oh my God. So like I said, I was living in Croatia. I stayed at that hostel. My buddies, John and Garrett had come in from Tampa, and they're fraternity brothers of mine, college buddies of mine, and we like get an Airbnb for like the night before the trip starts with the boats, because like the girls were coming in from Norway. They're doing the fucking Viking row, but it's just two like blondes. But so they come in, their whole thing gets delayed, so they get caught in like Spain for an extra night. So we had basically gotten the Airbnb to like plan to like get to know them and hang, do whatever before the takeoff the next morning. But now it's just the three of us. So I'm like, fuck it. We had to cancel. We had this big dinner plan and all these shows and stuff with the girls. And we were like, nah, fuck it. Let's just go out as boys. I still know Big Mike. So I'm like, let's hit that.
Yep.
So we go out there, and like my buddies got in. I was there for 2 weeks before they got in. They were like, are you the mayor of this town? Because everyone's like, lemonade, Jake, oh shit, what's up, Jaeger? And we're like doing shots and shit. And they weren't big Jaeger guys before they got on the trip. And now Jaeger's like our drink of choice.
Yep. You're a Jaeger guy now.
I'm the Jaegerade, dude. But basically the challenge we set up that our boat captain set for us was it's called 1 by 10 or 10 by 1. So you have to wake up and take a shot by 10 o'clock in the morning. And if you miss that, you have to take 10 shots by 1 p.m. So I don't know if you've ever seen the fear of panic in someone's eyes on a fucking third day of a vacation where you're like, get up, it's 9:58, and they're like, and you're dragging them out from under the deck of a boat, and we're just like, warm Jaeger that's been in like a bowl for Anyway, so we're partying at that bar. I'm partying with Big Mike. I'm introducing the boys to everybody. We're happy houring, and a few of my friends have an affinity for the powder, and as Big Mike would say, and so they're like fiending to look for some, and I had like known a few people that could probably get it or whatever, and so my buddy like calls a guy, and a fucking 12-year-old boy shows up.
Seriously?
And he's like
a child.
Yeah, like a little boy. And he's like, I have an aid. And we're like, what the fuck is going? Like buzz cut. He looks like a kid out of like, I don't know, like the fucking Warriors movie.
Yeah, of course.
And you're like, what is this?
Come out to play.
Literally. Yeah, he's like, we all float down here. And he's just, so he's like, come with me. And so the Garrett's like off on. Oh, he had gotten sick, I think, from the Warren Yeager. So he's back at the Airbnb. It's this rooftop Airbnb, cool little balcony. We're like looking out onto this castle that they filmed the Game of Thrones in. Gorgeous. But he's like hunkered up in bed there. And my buddy John and I are there. And so the kid, he's like, what do you guys want? And he pulls a gallon bag of what we are told is cocaine out of his fucking backpack, but looks like table salt.
Of course.
And so I'm like, all right, whatever. And I'm from Florida, so I'm not no schmo. And I'm like, all right, well, let me try this before we buy any. And he just goes, oh, yeah, take this around the corner and hands me the whole gallon bag. And I'm like,
no fucking way.
Sure. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm like around and it's Old Town split. So it's like Diagon alleys and, this crazy,
all those like 1,000-year-old, cobblestone.
And so I'm like around the corner, like giving it a little, a little toot scoot. And all of a sudden, my buddy, I just hear my buddy John go, fucking run. And I'm like, what, dude? And he just grabs the bag and he books it. And he's like, I just kicked a kid in the chest for not paying him any money. He tried to pull a knife on me.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, shit. And we just go. And so we're like running through the Old Town. And there's like Croatian gang members like shouting it. They're like, Americans. And we're like, oh, fuck. And so we dip into this
So
church.
you went into like the Croatian, like,
I guess. I didn't realize they started
area.
recruiting him so young. And so we're like, shit, dude. And so we fucking start running. He knocked the bump I was going to do out of my hand. So I don't even try it yet. But we have a gallon of their drugs. And we're running. We dip into this church. We hear a bunch of guys fucking run by. We're like
a movie.
Literally, we're like, and it's like quiet. We dip out the back door of the church. We find our Airbnb. We crawl up the like spiral staircase. And Garrett, we come in. we like knock in the door. We're like pouring sweat.
Yeah, of course.
Losing it. And John's like, well, fuck it. And he dumps a bunch of it on the table. And Garrett, in the coffee table in the living room. And Garrett comes out and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, we just stole a bunch of cocaine from the Croatian mafia. And he's like, oh, let me give it a try. And he looks at us and he like rolls up and he rolls up like a euro and he rips a line of it and then looks up at us and he goes, I don't think that was cocaine, and immediately starts pouring blood out of his nose.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, what do you think it is? And then I rip a line of it.
What did it end up
I'm
being?
like, that tasted like meth.
Oh no.
And so John's like, what the fuck? You sure it's not cocaine? And he rips a line of it. And then we all end up back out at the bars that night.
Yeah.
Just like fucking running around. We end up meeting a bunch of like German and like Dutch women. And we're like running around.
What'd you end up doing with all the meth?
We ended up like dumping it, just like because we were checking out of the Airbnb that night or that next morning for the trip, so we just like dumped it in a trash.
This is actually something very interesting that comes up on the show. I've done over 300 episodes. This comes up on the show quite a bit, which is I wanted to do X drug and I ended up with meth.
Yeah,
I don't understand why meth. It's meth and what's the other one? What are they always cutting stuff with? Meth and
fentanyl.
Meth and fentanyl.
Sure.
Are the two things where you're like,
I don't.
Just give me MDMA. What are we doing?
My whole thing is like, as someone who's grown up in Florida, Tampa's like the largest port of importing for cocaine, like in the country. I'm like, why do you want to kill your buyer?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't
100%.
make sense to me. Like,
I say it all the time.
I'm like, just fucking cut. I'd rather you cut it with fucking baby laxative or aspirin or whatever. I'm like, because then I'll buy more from you.
I've had that back when I was running and gunning. Daytona Beach, Seabreeze Boulevard, Brazzles.
Daytona. Yeah, I know.
Razzle Dazzles. Dude, I remember like just doing it and then looking around being like, I don't think this did anything. And then just
eye just starts
and then just doing more and it's burning because it's baby aspirin. And you're like, this is so painful.
You're like, why is it spicy?
It's not supposed to hurt like this.
Oh my God.
But you're absolutely right. Especially when the fentanyl thing started happening. A lot of people think it's a conspiracy.
No, it's legit.
A lot of people think it's because a lot of the fentanyl comes from China. A lot of people think it's like
big,
an
big China
job.
Yeah, because the people that China need to take out are Florida crackers. Yeah, that's the bit. Those are the ones that are really
the best
fucking
and brightest
chasing
are the ones shooting heroin.
The ones that meet up for shoot your gun at the sun so it dims down a little bit on Facebook meetup. Those are the guys that are really keeping neck and neck with China.
You gotta take them out.
You never know, dude.
You sent me a bunch of stories. What happened with 2001: A Space Odyssey?
All right, so 2001. This might be the one I need you to blur. There's a celebrity involved in this one.
Okay.
I probably won't love their name being dropped. But so if you guys aren't aware by now, I was in a frat. One of my jobs was so I dated a girl who used to strip at 2001: Space Odyssey. This is not the movie. This is the strip club in Tampa, Florida.
Got it.
It's a space themed strip club, and
You don't say.
shocker, right? But it's like themed. They do the whole thing. It's a full nude club, and I used to date one of the girls there. We went to high school together. We were both in high school. I wasn't dating her. She was in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Good clarification.
Want to be so clear.
I didn't even catch that because to me, I'm just like, yeah.
You're like, yeah, I would date a high schooler. Yeah.
No. Because, fuck you. It's because in my head, I was like, yeah, I know like 3 people I went to high school with. That's true.
Oh,
like, yeah.
Look, dude,
Well,
I know
not anymore because they aged out.
I know plenty of people whose careers as nurses have been funded by my friends.
Yeah.
You got to get through school somehow. But anyway, so I dated her. One of my jobs in the frat was to teach all of our younger guys and like our pledges, like strip club etiquette. So I would take the younger guys to the strip club, and my buddies and I would show them around, do the whole thing. I don't give a shit about strip clubs. I don't know if it's because like I was just overexposed to strippers as like friends because I was like in that world with them or just knowing them or whatever. They don't do anything for me. I could give a shit, but it's a very big thing in Florida and
100%.
And Tampa especially is like one of the
especially younger guys. You want to make sure that they understand. Like
I'm like, you have to give her the dollar before you grab her ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
you gotta know the rules.
They say chivalry's dead. I'm like, but anyway, so we're there. I'm hanging out. I know a lot of the girls because they're like friends of my girlfriend, whatever. But the VIP room in 2001 Space Odyssey is a UFO. It's like a circular UFO on top of the building.
That's good branding.
There's nothing a white boy loves more than a theme. So,
amen.
So, but I've been going there for a few semesters, like whatever. I'm like, show me the VIP room. I want to see the VIP room. And they're like, no, whatever. And I'm like, I brought you guys like thousands of dollars of business over the last few semesters. Like, I want to see the VIP room. Maybe we'll rent it out for. Like,
I want to go on the spaceship.
I'm like, let a boy drive his boat. You know what I'm saying? And so finally, they're like, okay, we'll take you up there. And I know the manager. And like we're gonna go.
So wait, they were really busting your balls this much about going up?
Well, it's like a champagne room. It's like that's where if you're gonna pay for sex, like that's probably where that's happening. It's like it's a.
So
private,
they were kind of like They were like, we're not just gonna walk you up.
They're not just like, oh look, here's a fucking open house. It's like it's still a strip club. It's gang involved.
It's very much the green room in a.
There's still a guy with a gun that stands in front of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the whole thing, right? It's like
Well, it's Florida. Everyone's a guy with a gun,
sure. But this guy's showing it to you. This guy wants you to know he has it. There's no concealing about that carry. But so they're like, okay, you can go up there, but like there is a VIP up there tonight. You got to be cool. I'm like, I'm cool. What are you talking about? I'm cool.
I'm so cool. My name's Lemonade.
Look at me, baby. You got just a juice worth the squeeze, you know? And then they're like, actually, you can't come upstairs anymore after that. No. But so they take me upstairs. It's this like wooden staircase. And you walk up and I'm at the door and they're like, the VIP's off to the left, like, be chill. And so I open the door, I see him immediately, and I'm like, but I'm like, be cool, Jake. And so I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is a really cool like room that's like space themed. I could really see it. They could fit like 40 people. We could rent this out for a pledge class thing, whatever. What are you doing in here? And my girlfriend's eyes are like, boom. I'm like, oh my god, dude, what the fuck's up, dude? And it's him alone, and it's like 8 strippers like all over him. And this is the year between when he was with the Patriots and the Bucks, when he was like with the WWE,
when he was retired for that.
Yeah. And so he has the 24/7 championship belt like draped over a table with just a mountain of cocaine on it. And he looks up at me and he's like, who the fuck are you? And I was like, oh, I just wanted to swing by, see what's going on here. And he just goes, you party? And I was like,
get the fuck out of here.
What do you say when he asks you, do you party? I go, fuck yeah, I party. And so we just ended up ripping a bunch of drugs and hanging out with the strippers all night. And the next morning was when he did the interview on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, he must be coked out. And he's just like, at Raymond James. And I was like, but yeah, the dog. He's the man. Yeah, it was so much fun. And then,
he is a big. I've heard a lot of stories that he's like a big, like fun party guy.
I mean, Arizona State alum. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So this is a weird thing. Real quick. This is a weird thing that I have noticed working in the restaurant I work in because it's very swanky and it's very expensive. Yeah. I wait on a ton of celebrities. I bet. It's just that like people come in and you like know their public persona. Yeah. But then when they're going to the bathroom every 10 minutes and they're just pounding vodka and you're like, oh, you're a fucking degenerate.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And then you see him on Good Morning America the next day and you're like,
wow, this feels targeted. Kelly Clarkson, Kellyanne, whatever.
I'm not saying anything, but
he's like, and you see him on this very specific show. The next
but it is very much like one of those things where you're like, oh, like this guy is a supreme athlete, like one of the best athletes ever to exist.
Totally.
And it's just like, no, he still likes to get after it and just party.
Well, I mean, dude, and I'm sure you ran into him in your time, but like a ton of the WWE wrestlers like live in Tampa and Lakeland and shit. Because I mean, I watched the Knicks win the championship at Hogan's Bar in Clearwater. Because I was doing shows down in Florida, and I'm like running. The club is next door to his bar, so I'm like running up and down it, and it's all like washed up wrestlers.
100%.
Dude, I told this on another podcast. Ric Flair sits at the Pearl in downtown Tampa and just shits his pants and does cocaine and hits on 18-year-old women every night. It's just a rotation.
I heard a great story about Ric Flair that he when he gets on a flight, if he's with his wife, he will order 2 Bloody Marys, one for him, one for her.
Yeah.
Pound his, put it in front of her, and then take hers. And I'm like,
the dog, dude. That's how it goes. But that's that old wrestler, that old Woo, Nature Boy. Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, it's better than what he used to do on flights, which was grab women. So I guess you gotta pick your battles. He was making a lot of Marys pretty bloody at the end of the flights either way.
Oh my God.
What's up? See me on tour. If you like wordplay comedy, I'm here. But yeah.
Mark Norman, watch out.
Gavity. Bloody Mary. But yeah, so I drink a lot of Jaeger now, but I'd say all that 2001 Space Odyssey sort of say this. There's also the Pirate Parade, boat parade down in Tampa every year.
That's a huge thing.
Big deal. It's our Mardi Gras. It's Pirate Mardi Gras. And the last day I ever drank Fireball.
I'm just gonna write it down.
Yeah. The last day I ever drank Fireball, I woke up in the Tampa Bay to Rob pulling me out of the river. He's like, "You can't be in here, man." And I was like, "What are you doing?"
Wait, was this the next day, or was
no? This was like a few years later. This is when they won the championship. Like they're doing the boat parade.
So did he just pull you out?
I don't think he remembered me, but I just was in the water, and he's like, "You got to get out of here, man." And it was like Batista was like the ceremony.
2001.
I was like, "You don't remember the guy?" And he was like, "You got to get out of the water, dude."
I have that happen. I've been sober 8 years, dude, and I have that happen all the time where I will be on a show with a comic, or I will wait on a very famous person, and then you run into them in a separate part of your life, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, totally. That's like that story like Louis told about Jerry Seinfeld a few weeks ago on Soder's pod. And
I didn't hear it.
He gave Seinfeld like a tag to a joke, and then Seinfeld did that tag on the Tonight Show, and then Louis saw him a few weeks later and was like, "Sick joke, man." And Jerry's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, the same thing."
It happens it had to start happening where I had to start, especially comics, because the place I work is in between the stand and the cellar. So I wait on a lot of very famous comics. And if I hit it off with them, because I never mention I do comedy until the end of the meal. Yeah. But then if they're like, "Oh, that's awesome. Like next time you're at the cellar, let me know, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. So if they say that, the next time I see them, and I'm sure you do this, because I do this with shows too. If I see someone that I look up to or respect, and we're on a show together, and then I see them later, I will always reference what I know them from.
Oh, sure.
That's a trick my dad taught me, where I'll go, "Hey, so-and-so, Brennan, remember from whatever?"
Yeah.
And then they always go, because they don't want to look like an asshole. So then they go, "Oh, yeah."
They're like, "Oh, I love this guy." Yeah, totally. I mean, I was just drunk on Fireball coming out of the water. So I wasn't like, "Hey, you remember me from 2001? Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know if that would have gone
Big 87. Jake, 2001.
You don't remember the Lemon Man?
You need some money?
I'm like, I know it's daylight outside and there's no strippers' buttholes in our faces, but you don't remember me?
Oh, man. We got to clip it and send it to him. Hopefully he hears
great.
What is Spam Fest?
So Spam Fest. So like I said, I lived in Ohio for a little while.
Okay, so this is
this is a few years later. So I was living in Ohio. Well, I used to take one of the things that I think worked really well and made me credible to the students is if I was working with you like over a break period, I would get your executive board to go on like an executive retreat. So we could like actually plan out this. I would treat it like a business. So I was like, I would take you on an executive retreat, and we'd have like the daytime, we'd have an agenda, and we'd like handle business and finances, recruitment plans. Like we do the work of being in a frat. And then I would be like, I'm not supposed to do this, but like, let's all go out and do whatever.
Yeah.
This was, I think, the second summer that I was working with Ohio. So I'd driven from Florida to Cincinnati. I picked up some of the
19 and a half hour drive.
Dude, I used to just eat Lincoln Logs of dip and Diet Coke and just rip fucking huge trips. It was so fun. And I just listen to podcasts and write jokes and all that shit. And then I stayed in Cincinnati. I picked up a bunch of the guys. We all caravan up to Huron, Ohio. It's this like lake town. One of the guys in the chapter.
There's a college there, isn't there?
Maybe. I didn't know anyone in Huron
knew
how to read, but sure.
I feel like I got recruited by like some really small school.
Well, there's Trine, which is like the Indiana-Michigan border, but it's a little bit further out.
Okay.
I did work at Trine for a little bit too. Sick dudes out there. But we're in Huron, Ohio. It's like a lake town on Lake Huron. Cool little podunk, kind of whatever, Midwest like lake town. But one of the guys' dads and uncles had like a lake house up there, and then his uncle like lived in the town.
Say no more.
Yeah, and I'm like, because it's like free. Now we're not spending any money to go on this retreat. Super easy. We just get the boys together. If I can do a whole weekend of the thing, and then but his uncle has this like huge property, like a farm out in the town of Huron, and every year he throws a party called Spam Fest, which is based off of Spam-A-Lot. And he just does different, and he's like, the property is like 2 pools, like a bar, like an indoor clubhouse. It's like a huge space, and the whole town comes to this party, and it's nuts. So we're like at the property hanging out, and it's small town. I'm used to small town Florida. Like, you can drunk drive a little bit. You boys gotta get home. There's no Ubers in Huron, Ohio. When the whole town is in Huron, Ohio.
There's nobody coming.
Party,
no help is coming.
No help is on the way. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So I'm like, it's like the end. We're drunk. I'm less drunk than all the guys I'm with. They're my responsibility. I'm like, we got to get home.
Pile in.
I had a GMC Terrain.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, it was like an SUV. So I'm like, everybody pile in. It's like a mile back to their dad's place from the uncle's place.
If I had a fucking nickel for every time,
you can drive 100 miles, nothing. The last mile is where every cop in the state is.
I say it all the time. Yeah. I got pulled over a lot, obviously, but I got pulled over, and we don't condone drinking and driving on this podcast, but it does happen, and we're older now. We've learned from it. We don't do it anymore.
You kids have Uber these days. Back in my day,
you didn't want to leave your car at the bar. You had to figure it out.
What were we gonna do?
But I never forget, South Florida. I'm looking at my window from my apartment, and I get pulled over, and it's the fucking, because it's South Florida, so there are gang units. So it's a big suburban that pulls me over. All these gang cops get out. So like tack gear, looks like they're about to fucking looks like they came straight out of Halo.
Oh yeah, they got like the fucking body
the vest
armor,
and
the
M16s.
Oh, brutal.
And then I remember telling the I was like, see the window that has the FAU banner in it? That's my room.
I'm going home, brother.
And the guy was
I gotta go disappoint a woman. Let me get upstairs.
He literally was like, we've got more important shit to do. We're going to follow you. If you don't pull into this apartment complex and go through that front door, I'm going to fucking slam your head into the concrete.
Yep. And you're like, it is Florida. I do believe you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, yes, sir.
But also, thank you for letting me go home.
You're like, thank God he didn't see my sweet tea and Skittles bag.
So,
Trayvon, what's up?
What happened?
So I'm pile everyone into the car. We're a little drunk, so we're all wet from being in the pool. Bathing suits, Hawaiian shirts are ripped open. I crack all the windows, the sunroof open. We're all like cruising home.
Night?
Yeah, it's like dusk.
Okay.
And so we're all getting home to like shower, change, go back to the bars. And but we're gonna park the car there and like walk to the bars, and because that's when you do it. And
after.
Why start now? And so we're going over a bridge. It's 45 miles an hour. I don't see that to go over the bridge 25 miles an hour. As soon as I crest the hump on the bridge, whoop,
yeah, they're waiting for you.
I'm like sick. And then, but like as soon as you get over the bridge, same situation as you turn left. I'm in the driveway of the house. So the cops' lights come on. I have to make it to this stop sign, which is like, 900 feet up or whatever, and then turn left and then turn into the driveway.
Right there.
So I see it. So I'm like, and what nobody else knows that I know is I have a fucking ounce of cocaine in the car. So, because I just drove up from Florida, I had packed my belongings for the semester. So I have like drugs in the glove box, drugs in the center console, and I'm like, and I have everything that I own in my trunk of my car. I have like whiskey in the wheel well, like the spare tire well. I'm like stocked up. So I'm like, fuck it, let me park this car. This is better than anything else. So I just like pull into the driveway.
So you keep driving.
Well, because I can
it's
like
right
literally
there,
like this is the house, this is the road. All I had to do is whoop, I'm in the driveway.
Just make it
so
turn.
I'm like, fuck it, let me just get in because my criminal mind is going, if I have to go to jail or whatever,
I
want these kids like not to be going with me because they're not home. So I'm like, let me park it and figure it out, and the car will be there. Because I'm also doing the math of like if they tow me, that's
also a terrible, because I've been in that situation where they're like, get out of the car, and you're like, yeah, but what's gonna happen to my car?
Yeah, and they're like, doesn't matter, boom, done. Yeah, but anyway, so we park, and I'm like. But then, like the music, all the students like don't see the shit going on. I'm locked into the rearview mirror, and they're like, "Oh yeah!" And they all open the doors to get out of the car.
Sirens on, or did he just whoop you?
Well, he whooped me, but then and the lights are on, and he pulls in, and then but then they all open the doors to the car. I open the door to the car, and the guy's like, "Everybody fucking freeze!" And we're like, "Oh shit!" And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And he's like running up the car. He's like, "Nobody fucking move! Like you guys got pulled over. What the fuck is this? You're parking in that?" And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm like. Gonna get all these guys that are.
It was a fun
pleasure,
time, guys.
Best advisor in the country. Yeah, what's up? And so
it was good while it lasted, right?
So I like just look at the guys and I'm like, go inside. And the cop's like, So they all like scamper into the house, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he comes up and he holsters his gun and he like slams me back into the car and like closes the door. And he's like, "What are you thinking? What the fuck's going on?" He goes, "Did you know?" He goes, "I could have fucking murdered you if you ran. I shot for the national rifle team in America." He's like, "You're dead on impact if I chose to fire." And I was like, "Dude, I'm in flip-flops in a bathing suit. You think I'm going anywhere?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, cool story, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, "Sick, dude. That's crazy. You didn't do it." So
You know, I'm the best advisor in the country.
Like, "Do you want to see my credentials?"
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing
like,
here?
All right, why tap dance when you can tango? So he's like doing this whole thing, but we end up like bantering, whatever. I'm like, "Oh, is it Spam Fest?" He's like, "Oh, Spam Fest." I'm like, "Sick." That's still.
I'm the only one who didn't get to go.
Yeah, he's like, "I had to work tonight. We all draw straws. This is my night, whatever." And so I'm like, I can still like white privilege, old boy my way into hanging out with this guy. So we're being cool, whatever. He's like, "I clocked you doing, 45 and a 25. Like, it's not cool. I can't have that happen." But he's like, "I get it. You guys are just trying to get home. Like, whatever." He's like, "Let me just run your license and we'll just like give you a warning or whatever." I'm like, "Cool, whatever." I sit in the car. I'm like literally the guys are coming back out of the car. I'm like giving them the drugs to take into the
Get
house.
this
So if,
inside
I'm like,
now.
I just don't. I'm like putting it in duffel bags. Like, go. And so he's running the plates for like a long time. And I'm like, "All right, what's going on around here?" And then a second car shows up. And I'm like, "Well, they don't usually bring a second cop back up for a warning." So I'm like, "What's all this about?" And he walks back up to me. And he was like, "Hey, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but you've been driving with like a suspended license and you have a warrant out for your arrest." And it's been ongoing.
Did you know?
I had no idea.
Okay.
So, well, I say that just now, but I didn't like actively know it. But what had happened was the day that COVID got announced, where they were like, "Everyone stay in your home." I was living in Philly, but I had a girlfriend in Florida. So the day that they were like, "Nobody leaves their home," I flew from Tampa to Atlanta to Philly, picked up all my stuff, moved out of my apartment there, and I drove back to Florida. And I was going through South Carolina, and I was like, nobody's on the road. I was going 120 through what turned out to be a work zone.
Jesus.
And because I was just like, this is like a 12-hour drive. Like, let me just go home. Like, there's zero people on. I mean, I didn't see another car except that cop that pulled me over the whole 12-hour drive. But he pulls me over, whole thing, fat ticket, because I'm like work zone, going 120 to 60, the whole
What
thing.
is that, like a $900 ticket?
It was going to be like $2,500, whole thing.
Whoo!
Mandatory court appearance, whole deal.
You're not showing up for
I'm
that.
like, bye. But so the whole thing was I call when I get back to Florida and I'm like, "Hey, it's a mandatory court appearance. I don't live in South Carolina. Like, what do we do?" And it was day 1 of COVID.
Yeah.
And so the lady goes, "Oh, all moving and traffic violations are being waived because we can't have anyone come into court because COVID," and nobody had figured out Zoom and shit yet. So they just go like, "Your ticket is expunged. Like, you're good to go." And I was like, and then I just never followed up about that. And so it
was
turned
not
out
expunged.
like it was, but they never communicated that with Marion County, Florida, like where my license was. So it just went under the radar, and they just never sent an email for like 2.5 years. And so my license had been suspended since then. And I had no clue.
No idea.
I wasn't really living in Florida that much.
And
like,
you're not checking it.
And I'm like, who's Googling their shit? It's like, I don't care. That lady
If you
said
get 2
so.
DUIs, you do check it all the time.
There you
That's
go.
from personal experience. But
Can't get a third.
dude,
But-
we just got a car, and I went to get insurance, and I put it in my name. And I've had so many license issues because of my DUIs and my arrests and stuff. So I do check it. I check it like once every 6 months. I'm like, let me just make sure this is still valid. And dude, when I filed with Geico, it was like license not valid. And I was like, you gotta be
You're like, what
fucking
now?
kidding me.
Yeah,
And I'm like looking it up through the New York State and all that stuff. I call Geico and they go, "Oh no, it's because you already had a Geico account. We have your Florida license,
Oh, sure.
but now you have a New
New
York
license,
license." They're like,
yeah.
"No problem, let's just switch it."
And
Which
you're
is like hanging out with my wife, who's
Yeah.
never been in like real trouble. It's so because she would have been like, "Oh, it's probably a technical error."
Yeah, but
and in
you
my head,
you
I'm
immediately
like,
go to like worst case scenario. We're like, fuck. Yeah.
I'm going back
You're like,
to
I have
jail.
to go to court tomorrow. Yeah. And you're like, let me find a tie. Yeah.
So for you,
yeah.
that happens, and then are you like, what do they do?
So he arrested me. He was like, "I'm sorry to tell you this. You have to come to jail with us." And I was like, "What?"
And you're in Ohio.
And I'm
so
in
that's-
Ohio.
You have to get
I have a Florida license that is not valid. I live in Ohio, but I don't technically have a residence there. I'm not in the town that I even live in.
and they got to
I just live in my
transfer
car.
you.
So it's a whole thing. So basically, what happens is like the warrant is still for my arrest in Florida, but like the arresting officer thing happens in Ohio because the violation of the ticket. Now he's like, I have to give you the ticket because this is illegal.
Yeah.
And so, but what he does is basically, I mean, he was the bro. So by then he's like, just hop in the fucking front seat. We'll get you to jail, whatever. We're zipping around. I also like had just driven up from Florida that day. So like he was like, he's like, I'm gonna be very nice to you. He goes, we can go pull out cash for your bail, so you don't have to spend the night in jail.
Yeah, they don't ever
before
do
we go to jail, because it's like, I mean, it's like a sheriff and a
Yeah.
deputy, you know, but it's the deputy of the thing.
The nicest thing they did for me was, hey, do you need to call anybody?
Oh,
and I was
sure.
like, yeah. And they were like, all right. And they're going through my cell phone.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they're like,
tell us
pick
the
a
names.
number.
Yeah.
That's sick. But this guy was just like cool. And then so we stopped by a Chase ATM, and my credit card reads as fraud because it's not in this. Like I hadn't called my bank to transfer. You know, hey, I'm going to be on the road today. So then I have to go. So I'm like, please take me to a second bank. And I'm drunk. I'm drunk the whole time. And so I'm like risen up the guy. I'm like, oh, what fucking sick. How long you been in the police force? And he's like, we're just bantering. And so he ends up. I'm so fucked up by the time this happens.
Everything
Now all the
starts
alcohol,
hitting,
we like
yeah.
chugged a bunch of shit because we thought we were a mile away from home. So we like slammed a bunch of beers. I'm like, these won't hit till we get home. So now I'm like getting more progressively drunk the longer I'm with this guy. And so I'm so trashed. He ends up like punching in my PIN number for me and pulls out the cash for me at the bank ATM before we go to jail. And we stop and got Taco Bell. So I'm like, I feel like this is like white privilege to the max. I'm like feet up on his desk, and he's like, oh, the sheriff isn't here yet. He'll be back. You can talk to him. And so the sheriff comes back. They arrest like the town drunk. They throw him in the cell. They're like, well, Danny, you got to stop doing this. And he's like, I told you guys. And they're like, who's this? He's like, do I have a friend for the night? And I was like, fucking no. So I peel the guy off
Here's
like $1,000 or whatever. I'm so pissed. But then he's like, okay, well, you have to be in court like Tuesday. And I'm like,
in Florida or
no, in here in
Marion?
Ohio.
Okay.
I'm like, that's not gonna work for me because I was supposed to be in Texas for another fraternity thing. And he was like, what do you mean that's not gonna work for you? It's court. And I was like, can I see your Google Calendar? And then we pull up where it's not a Google Calendar. He pulls like one of those old hanging calendars off the wall, and we're like flipping through this fucking notebook thing, and I'm like, does this date work? And we're like correlating because I don't have my phone on me because it's all in like the detention thing. So we're like doing this whole thing, and then I call like the chapter I'm supposed to work with in Texas, and I'm like, are you guys cool if I come in a day late? I gotta go to jail. And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. They don't know me yet. And so we pencil out a date. I pay them the money, and then the cop drives me back out to the bars to meet up with my buddies where they went out.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And then I was like, dude, I owe you my life. And so I was like, when you get off, like, I don't know if you're working tomorrow or whatever, like, let me buy you a drink. He shows back up at like midnight that night in the cruiser, and I just bought him beers for the rest of the night. We fucking partied. And then when I went to court like a few weeks later, he like stood on the stand in my defense. And it was like, he's like, this is like a chill dude. He's like, we hate the Marion County fucking cop system. Like them in Jackson County and South Carolina like never collaborate. He's like, they're a pain in our ass. And he like vouched for me in court.
So what ended up happening? Because it was just a technical error? Did they throw it out?
I had to hire a lawyer to get like a certified document. It took like the 2 weeks between when this happened and when I went back to court. I had to like get a lawyer to like get sealed documents from the Carolinas to send it to Florida. They had to certify everything, and then they sent me like a certification letter. And if I didn't show
I've got a couple of those letters.
Yeah, if I didn't show up to court with that letter, like I was do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing.
So I'm like I had basically gone back up. I had to lie. I lied to them that I had not driven back up to here in Ohio. I told them I took a bus. Lied. I honestly stayed in a sick little hotel in like a nature preserve, and I had like a great weekend of it. And then I parked like a half a mile away from court, and then I walked into the courthouse.
Got you.
And I was like, oh, and the guy was like, yo, that's the bro. And I went out for beers with him that night, and I drove away from court with him, and we partied.
That is such a thing. Not showing
playing
up.
The game, dude.
No, but like not showing up. Like when we went to go get the car registered, I was like in New York, I was like, I have to take public transit there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, my wife or other people were like, why don't you just drive the car there? And I go, because it's not
That's
registered.
The problem, yeah.
If I walk out and someone who works for the DMV or there's a cop sees me and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm registering this car. So you're driving this car without a legal registration. And you're like, well,
I parked it behind these bushes. I walked down the block.
Which is like, it's such a rare thing, but it has happened to me where I've gone to the DMV to like get license stuff sorted out in Florida.
Totally.
And the woman was like, I saw you park the car and walk in.
Yep. And
like, you can't do that. And you're like, motherfucker.
Oh, it's the worst. But that's how you know, like, we've been in the shit before. Because it's like, you know, the little tricks to figure out, like, okay, well, I got to park down the street.
Plausible deniability.
Like, I don't know, officer. Yeah.
I got here.
He's like, what bus route did you take? I'm like, Greyhound. He's like, we don't have a station here for that. I'm like, maybe a Flixbus.
Figured it out.
Just like,
figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
I did want to ask because that is another thing where ChatGPT has made this so much easier now.
Sure.
Well, because like I wasn't able to have a passport for a long time because I'm a convict.
Yeah.
And I was now able to get a passport, but for certain countries like Canada, I was like, oh, I still can't get in.
Oh,
so
really?
But instead of hiring a lawyer now, I'm just on ChatGPT. Like, what do I need? And dude, it gives me the links, and it's like, put in this case number and that. Yeah. And dude, the certified letters just pop right up. Because what happens is once you go through the system, the judge will sign something saying you're all done. It gets stamped, and then they hold it on file.
Yep.
But like, if you don't have it, you're like, I don't even know how to fucking get.
I know.
That.
Yeah, I'm like, who do I have to? What hoop do I have to jump through to make it? Yeah. I haven't had to deal with anything like that since ChatGPT has become a big thing. This is probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. So before that, like, took off. But yeah, I think that would probably have saved me the $160. But I was also pretty ready to pay the $160 to the lawyer to just be like, handle it, mail it to me. I'm not going to jail.
It is
worth whatever price you pay.
You could have said $1,600.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, tack 2 zeros on. I don't care. I'll sell my fucking kidney. I don't give a shit.
It is also a crazy thing too, because like when I got my warrant, because there are those scam calls now, where they'll call and say you have a warrant, and I'm like, I've had warrants. They don't do that.
Yeah, I'm like, you got to find out. They're not letting you know.
I remember when I was going to an AA meeting after rehab, and we got pulled over, and my mom had called me like years before, and she was like, "Hey, I got a certified letter from the county saying there's a warrant out for your arrest." I'm like, and I'm still drinking at the time. I'm like, don't fucking worry about it. I end up going to rehab, getting out of rehab, living in a halfway house. And I know this is over the course of like a year and a half. I know there's a warrant out for my arrest.
Sure.
We get pulled over and I'm not wearing my seatbelt. And I'm like, they're like, we need your ID too. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
The whole thing, guns drawn, get out of the car, get out of the car.
It's crazy, bro. Well, because now, like, I don't drive much anymore because we're in New York. But like, when I go on the road, sometimes I'll rent a car or do whatever. And I have problems with the license all over the place because it's still just like hung up on shit.
Dude,
when I tried to rent a car. I had shows in Pittsburgh and then Virginia, so I found a sweet deal for like $30 a day to rent a car, and then I was gonna do that whole loop. I go to it's here in Queens. I go to the like Enterprise, and they're like not valid. So I had to lie to U-Haul about what I needed the truck for, and I basically took a 15-foot box truck and drove from here to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh to Virginia, and back to New York. Such expensive gas, but I saved money on the hotels because me and my boys just crashed in the back of the U-Haul. But it's like, they were like, why is there 4,500 miles on this thing? And I was like, hey,
don't even worry about it.
We forgot a couch. We were moving around. And they're like,
well, that is another thing too, is I'm fine now when it comes to like renting cars and stuff like that. But I still get that anxiety every time they ask for my license. Dude, I'm like, come on.
It's brutal because
as soon as they open the gate, I'm like, sucker.
I'm like, my buddies and I were doing a vacation up in North Carolina. We rented a cabin in the Carolinas, and we had driven, and it was in the territory when I had been dealing with a lot of those issues. And I got pulled over because I was like, I guess my plates or something. Like, a cop couldn't see my plate when I went through a light or something. I don't know, whatever. But just to be safe, my buddy and I swapped seats because he looks like me. So we just swapped seats in the driver's seat. So the cop walked up and he's like, you're on your phone during the blowing through that light, right? And my buddy was like, oh yeah, sorry, officer, I was trying to find directions. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat like,
don't do anything.
I'm like, same thing, drugs in the car. I have a warrant for my arrest. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and it's terrifying when they're like, let's see your ID. Well, that's the other thing too, is like,
I'm like,
people who have never been in real trouble, when the cop's like, we just got to run your license, they're like, okay, no problem. But for me, I'm like, fuck.
Because even if I don't have anything actively,
9 things are going to come up.
I'm like, it's still, now I'm not going to get a warning because they're going to be like, well, this guy's not a great fucking record. So it's like, boom, done.
I get so scared because I'm like, oh, if they run my plate, they're going to be like, oh, this guy has like 9 arrests.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm
this
like,
this guy's a fucking problem.
And it's like, I have arrests in Florida. I have arrests in Ohio. I got arrests in South Carolina. I got arrests in Georgia. I got arrests in Missouri. So I'm like, it's like, this guy looks, I look like I'm trafficking drugs, which I am, but that's not what I've been arrested for. But it's like, all right, you got to fucking chill on that. And it's like, I look like an international man of mystery. I'm like Bonnie and Clyding my way around the fucking United States.
Oh, international man of mystery. That's going to be the title of the episode.
There we go.
Dude, this was a blast. You got to come back on. We've run out of time.
Yeah, we didn't. I think we barely touched some stories.
I know. We still got 3 more.
Part 2.
Plug everything one more time. Let them know.
Hell yeah, guys. At Jake_Lemonade97 on social media. You can hit me on there. If you want foot pics, I will follow suit. I don't really give a shit. You can find me on tour. I'm doing some shows in Philly in November. I'll be at the Punchline. I'm all over the place. Just hit me up on socials if you want to see me come out to your city. Honky Hour Podcast may or may not revive itself. Check my Instagram for shows in New York City and come to Cyprus.
Beautiful. Dude, this was a blast.
This fucking rocked, man.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. At Brennan T. Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. Shows in Milwaukee, Chicago. We're going to be D.C. God damn it, where else? West Nyack. We're doing Matt Fulcheron specials coming out. We're doing a full nationwide tour. So get the dates at BrennanTComedy.com, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Let's go. Stay buzzed.